Welcome back to the Poetry Table. This episode is for anyone out there who has limited beliefs in themselves and how we can work together to build that support system and encourage each other to take that extra step to finish our work and get it out there. This one resonates with me a lot. I feel like if I have the encouragement of people around me, then I'm inspired, and I hope you guys enjoy.
'Cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you. So, now that welcome back.
So good to see you guys
It's
today.
so good to see you all.
How's everyone doing?
Doing really good. Doing good.
Yeah, very exciting day. I guess we're talking about limited beliefs.
Yeah.
And what causes limited beliefs? What do you guys think are like some of the most common reasons that people experience that?
So maybe for the listeners and viewers, we should hone in on what exactly is a limiting belief. What would you say a limiting belief is?
I mean, I guess for me, it's just the lack of confidence.
Yeah.
And I think one of my biggest things is just fear of judgment.
Yeah.
Fear of people talking smack about something that I created.
Right. Yeah.
What about you guys?
For me, a limiting belief is just the assumption that the universe is going to punish you or make you fail in some great embarrassing way.
Yeah.
When in reality, the universe isn't thinking about you.
The universe is on your
not going
side.
to do anything to limit you at all.
Yeah.
So it's really just a belief.
It really is. It's for me, it's a state of mind. For me personally, my limiting beliefs stem from traumas and, societal expectations, family expectations, which probably I built in my own head, not anything that was said to me, but it just stems from that. And it's your, I read a quote that it's your brain's self-protection mechanism because it wants to keep you safe, and where you're at is always safe.
And that's what anxiety does, is it often brings up fears that are there for a good reason to protect you. But oftentimes limits ourselves, and especially our beliefs in ourselves.
Right.
Your
brain thinks it's protecting you, but really it's just holding you back.
Yeah.
So we're here to help the listeners, the viewers, try to break through those limiting beliefs, especially when it comes to their poetry and their art.
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes about.
It all comes down to the feeling oftentimes of I am not enough.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you are enough. We are all enough. And, what we can do and what we have done to try to get past that. Are there any times in your all's lives that you felt like you weren't enough? You were experiencing these limited beliefs and you went for it anyway?
Oh my God, every day of my life.
I know, right? Yeah, same, honestly.
But I have so many times. One that really comes to mind was when I picked up everything and moved across country to pursue acting in LA.
Yeah.
I had a lot of limiting beliefs, but I did it anyways. And I am so grateful that I did. Obviously, I didn't stay out in LA. I was there for 7.5 years, came back, but it was one of those things that I'm so glad I pushed through those beliefs.
Yeah.
I had so many beliefs, what if I die on the way? Because I drove out there. I brought my dog with me, so we drove all the way. I'm what if I die on the way there? What if they hate me? What if nothing comes of it? But I grew so much as a person and as an artist. And I'm just so grateful that I, really pushed through those limiting beliefs for that.
And I love that too, because I imagine if you look back on that time, did everything go perfect?
Oh God, no. If anything could have gone wrong, it did.
Yes.
But I still kept pushing.
Yeah. And taking that risk almost and then having the moments of success mixed in with the moments of failure kind of build that belief that I can do this. A failure doesn't mean that I'm done.
Exactly.
I can push through. And
exactly.
I think that that's hard.
And if you can push through one of the biggest failures of your life, or just anything that you really want, you can push through to the other side. It makes you feel invincible.
Absolutely.
You're I can do anything.
It's like the challenges almost make the relief sweeter.
Yes.
You have the skills skills that you've picked up and absorbed from being in LA, don't you feel like even though everything went wrong, that made everything go right?
Oh my God. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I love that too. I was actually just discussing with a friend the other day how having a lot going on at once helps me with my anxiety. You would think the overstimulation would make it worse. But for me, if I've got things in my life that are not going as well, but then I've got things that I'm succeeding at and that I'm pushing through and that I'm creating and feel proud of, it just really helps me feel confident.
It just makes it,
even though I've still got the failures.
Exactly. It makes all of the failures worth it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I feel most myself and most productive when I'm busiest.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like to be busy,
Right.
it works best for me and my art.
Yes, same. So when you moved out west, and I feel like that was a big life-changing moment for you, did you have anyone in your life that believed in you, that was supporting you, even if it was just words of encouragement?
Honestly, everyone, to be honest. I mean, obviously there were the ones that were concerned that are like, it's really hard. A lot of people don't make it, but you would be surprised how many messages I just got on Facebook.
Yeah.
People tell me, oh my God, you inspired me so much. I can't believe you did that. So many people are scared to go out and do that. And that was very encouraging. I am going to say my mom was always my number one biggest fan. So definitely her and my brother, because my mom was still alive at the time when I moved out there, and my brother was a big fan. All of my family really, but just even people that I really never talked to, but I'm friends with on Facebook, messaged me telling me, I inspired them. I had a friend message me and tell me that my move inspired him to move to Paris. Something he'd always wanted to do, and didn't speak French, but he was like, I'm doing it. And I was like, wow, I hope it works out.
So you helped him defeat his limiting.
I did, apparently, which made me feel really good about it.
You're inspired.
Right?
Yes.
That's the thing about it. Once you push through those beliefs, you inspire so many people.
Yeah. Was there a time for you, Sav, that really, you put yourself out there when you really didn't believe in yourself?
I remember in high school, there was a big writing competition going on in Cincinnati called the Overture Awards.
Yeah.
And it was specifically for people in Cincinnati. And so as a Kentucky kid, I was only allowed in on a technicality. And so I had this feeling of everyone competing is from a performing arts high school in Cincinnati. They're probably better off than my family. They have more technical education than me. And so I was worried about submitting. But I had a teacher who really sat beside me and workshopped my work until it was more polished. And I ended up winning the awards.
That's amazing.
So that was really the start of my writing career, I suppose you could say, when the switch turned from creative hobby to, wait a second, should I keep going?
Yeah.
What about you?
Man, honestly, I'm similar to Jamie, where there was a big moment in my life. I'd experienced death in the family, and I had a cousin that lived in Colorado, and we visited. Me and my other cousin went out and visited, and I saw the mountains and was inspired just by that to see more and experience more. And when I sold all of my things, packed into a car, and was leaving without really a plan. There was a directional plan of where to drive to. We made a big loop around the country, but didn't know ultimately where we were going to land, didn't have a job lined up. And I experienced a lot of people not believing in me, or thinking it was a bad idea or crazy. But then I also had those who did.
Yeah.
And I think for me, really having those people in my life that are encouraging, and if you don't have people that are encouraging, finding the ones that are supportive and building that community is just an amazing thing.
So piggybacking off of that, I have two things that you made me think of. One is that you don't realize how many people in your life are there willing to encourage you, because you have all these beliefs going on in your head and you're afraid to put anything out there. So you're just, you have the angel and the devil on your shoulder, and you just keep hearing all those beliefs thinking nobody's going to like this. And then when you finally push through and do it, you have this huge support system, at least in my experience, that I didn't even know I had. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize how many people really were rooting for me. But in my head, I'm like, everybody wants me to fail for some reason. We always think the worst. But another thing that you said, like, about the people in your life, and you mentioned a teacher, and last episode I mentioned a teacher. We really got to give like homage to those teachers out there.
Oh my gosh.
Because there are so many that really like push us to do our best work. And like I said, Mr. Vidito, my music teacher growing up, is who made me love singing and wanting to perform. That was because singing was my very, very first artistic hobby. And then in high school, I took 4 years of art, and my art teacher, Miss Wiki, made it so, like, she was just so amazing, and it really encouraged us. And so we really have to give homage to those teachers out there that show the support and encourage us. And I don't even think they realize the gift that they're giving these kids when they're like giving them encouragement.
And some of them might not realize when, and some of them, that's why they do it. And some of them hope that they are and never get that validation. But teachers are
they're underpaid, not paid enough.
The ones that really care make a huge difference.
They really do.
And sometimes can maybe influence, like maybe if it was a math teacher that was there for you instead, and your writing teacher didn't care about you at all, maybe you'd be some big mathematician. It's crazy to think about, but I'm happy that it was the writer.
Right.
That makes me kind of think about, like, do you guys think that self-doubt, does that stem from inside you, or do you think it comes from others?
I honestly think it comes from both.
I agree. I 100% agree.
I think that because I'm really into the subconscious mind, and I'm really into mindset. And I think that there are times in your experience, especially they say that the first 7 years of your life really shapes your personality, and something could have happened, something very small and minuscule, but the way that you interpreted it and the way you felt inside at a young age, even if it was just someone, hey, don't do that. Like something super simple, it could be interpreted the wrong way, and then that sticks in your subconscious mind, and then later on down the road, you just keep repeating that.
Don't do that thing again.
Exactly. So I think it stems from both, actually.
And on that, if it's something creative that you were vulnerable about, negative critiques hurt twice as much.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, they really do.
Absolutely. And that makes, that can bring fear in putting it out there at all.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important that we surround ourselves with encouraging people. And, we got to keep our minds open as well to constructive criticism.
Yeah.
But then maybe push out the non-constructive, just kind of hate that people can often give. For me, I can experience self-doubt, and it's very internal, but it's the people, the outside influences that help give me more confidence in moments where I'm not feeling confident.
Yeah.
I find those people who are supportive and believe in me and my idea. And that's what kind of helps pull me out. And then the haters I try to ignore. So they don't ever give me the limited beliefs, but the outside influences do help me believe.
Right. Now, I actually have had experiences in my life where someone didn't believe in me, and it made me push harder. So sometimes
that's fair.
Sometimes it might be helpful.
That's fair. Perspective is like, having that positive attitude and that confidence within yourself, and not limiting the beliefs within yourself, make that easier, or make it encouraging and inspiring. Okay, Miss Sampson from high school didn't think my poetry was any good, and I will show her.
I'll prove her wrong.
Sometimes the best revenge is success.
It really is. It really is. So sweet.
I think that's what I like about like the World Poetry Collective too, is like in any level that you do their package, you get to work alongside their editing team. They don't take over control of your work and then release something later that you're just like, what is that? They work alongside with you and help you finalize your vision. And I think that that's really cool. And having like a support system like that and other people who are seeing the unfinished stages that also believe in it and believe in you, you know, can really help take the extra step.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of writers rely on beta readers for feedback, for critiques, for advice. And then when it comes to things like designing their covers or where to put this poem instead of this poem, outsourcing advice from family members, acquaintances, from anyone, sometimes you're going to get that negative feedback that isn't productive. Sometimes you're going to get optimism that isn't effective for your work, but joining the World Poetry Collective, offering your book up, letting them see it, not only are you entering a built-in support network, but you're getting valuable feedback that is designed to enhance your work.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most enthralling things about the World Poetry Collective. So
Yeah, you know, and I think a lot of times too, a nice thing is people get, you know, they don't have enough time. There's the lack of time to do all of the things that are needed to be done. So then you experience self-doubt with that. Can I handle all of it? Or is it the right time?
yeah.
For me personally, for my work to hit the surface. And, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about if you start putting in that extra effort and you eliminate those limited beliefs, like where could your work be in 3 to 5 years? You know, not to keep talking about. All right, welcome back, you guys. You know, every new show has its problems. We were experiencing a little technical difficulties, but I think we're back on. And I did want to touch base on what I was talking about before. You know, we limit our beliefs, and if we do believe in ourselves, where could we find ourselves in 5 years? And the World Poetry Collective itself is still a pretty new organization, but the amount of growth that it has experienced in a little less than 2 years is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and I think if we apply that to ourselves, like who knows? Like who knows where the collective will be? Who knows where you will be if you take that extra step?
There's this saying I love. It goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now.
Right.
So if you've written in a number of poems, would you rather have them published next year or in 10 years? Or quicker than next year, depending on how exciting and ambitious you want to move into this?
Yeah. And you know, something that's like an interesting thought that I think holds people back, you know, you have a lot of identity in your artwork. And some people think that maybe, you know, as that struggling, starving artist, for lack of better terms, if you publish your work and you put it out there and you get success, how is that going to change you as a person? How is it going to change your work and what is reflected in your work? Like, you know, it's hard to write a sad, emotional poem if you're on top.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, knowing other poets, being friends with them, I think a lot of people sort of assume this identity of, I'm just a diary poet and everything I write is just like my emotional dumping grounds, basically. But what they exhibit is obvious skill, obvious grasp of language. And I tell them, you could be so much more if you viewed poetry as an art form, as an entrepreneurship opportunity, something like that, rather than just the diary entry that you feel ashamed of and hide.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's also, it makes me think of like artists in all different mediums that became famous after their death. And it's like, you know, what they would have been, you know, what could have been different had they had like a resource like this one.
Yeah. The thing with limiting beliefs is that, like, if it's keeping you from putting yourself out there, if you don't do it, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be in the same position you are now in 5 years. But if you do it, just think of the possibilities. Like, you might still be in the same position, but hey, at least you put yourself out there. But you could really grow, and you could grow an audience. You could inspire others. You could keep making more work. It just, you never know. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah. And, you know, if you don't want to be famous or something like that, that's another thing that I love is that you don't have to do it to be published to everyone. You can keep it small, but take out a lot of that extra time. That, you know, a lot of the guesswork, a lot of the figuring out and bringing together all these different people with different skills. They're all gathered here. The teams are here, which I think is pretty awesome.
Because for a lot of us, we might have time to be writers, but do you have the time to be your own advertising agent, your own publishing agent, your own editor, your own cover designer, your own fact checker, everything like that?
You know, you got to talk to a printer, everything. Yeah.
But we do that here for those writers, and that takes out so much of the legwork that these writers don't have time to do, which
in that way,
amazing.
You can focus on your writing and focus on your mindset as a writer too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of what we were discussing earlier, not on the podcast, of what would the world be like if so many famous writers or musicians or, you know, singers, whoever, didn't put their work out there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, yeah. Where would we, you know, like work that's inspired us. If we never heard it, if we never saw it, it was never put out there, who would we even be? And what can we do to inspire others?
Exactly.
You know?
So that's what is so important about putting your work out there, is that you have no idea who you're going to inspire and how much it's going to help people in the collective. Like, so many songs or movies have gotten me through some of my hardest times. And so, you know, your poem, putting it out there, might help someone else get through one of their hardest times.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So on the subject of that, what is something we can do to help our viewers and listeners overcome limiting beliefs? Like, what advice can we give them?
Man, you know, so it really makes me think about perfectionism. Like, I know a lot of people let overthinking and perfectionism hold them back. Yeah, you know, and for me, that one's a hard one, because I will oftentimes be so unhappy with something that I have created, and I'm hyper fixating on that, and I just need to step away. Sometimes I need to step away and just like not look at it, not think about it for a couple of days. And then whenever I come back, I'm like, why was I unhappy with this?
But see, here's the thing. Everyone's definition of perfect is different. So just because it's not perfect for you, when you put it out there, it may be perfect for someone else that listens to it or reads it.
And, you know, like, as an expression of yourself, you know, people aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
So your work shouldn't be perfect either.
Exactly.
You know? Like, it should express who you are and show who you are organically, and you are an imperfect person.
Exactly.
That's
and
okay.
some of the biggest mistakes end up turning into the most beautiful things.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
There is oh my gosh, it is a Japanese pottery technique. You guys, dang it, I cannot
With the gold?
Yes.
I know what you're talking
So they
about.
take the imperfections and then they highlight them to make those imperfections beautiful.
Like if they break a piece of pottery, they patch it with gold and it makes it beautiful. Yeah.
And I've always thought that was fascinating. And I like to apply that into carpentry, into my stained glass work, into my writing, you know, like, something's imperfect. I don't know how to highlight that, but you know, it's just a good concept, I think, to go at, is that no imperfection is imperfect.
Exactly.
You know?
And for me, especially the more I write, or the more I want to write, because sometimes I get so caught up in that perfectionist spiral that I refuse to start or embark on a new project. You have to ask yourself, would you rather have something perfect or something finished? And if nothing is ever going to be perfect, especially in the eyes of your own inner saboteur, then you should just have it something done. Because once it's done, you can edit, you can redraft, you can show someone else. But if you have a perfect nothing, you still have nothing.
Well, and I think that's why it's important to have like a support system, a team. Like, you know, if let's say maybe I'm the type to just put something out just to have something finished, but someone that I'm working with and collaborating with does have like a little bit more meticulous and more of a perfect vision. Maybe we can find a compromise. They can inspire where to improve certain areas without ripping the whole thing apart.
Right.
You know?
I think collaboration is one of the most beautiful things when it comes to putting yourself out there. A lot of times when you have this perfect idea in your head and it's just not really flowing well, but getting collaboration with someone else, getting someone else's feedback really can morph it into something so amazing and so beautiful.
Yeah. What do you guys think, like some of like the consequences of letting limited beliefs take over and, holding yourself back and never doing it,
Honestly, in my personal experience, it's led to depression. Because I'm not expressing myself the way that I want to. So I am just bottling it up inside because I'm so afraid to put myself out there because of these damn limiting beliefs. And then you just got to push through those. Mm-hmm. What about you, Sav?
When you let your limiting beliefs win, you kind of just dig a deeper hole every single time because you can't draw back on a previous experience where you did overcome it. Mm-hmm. And so like if the last time you put yourself out was 5 years ago, that memory is so distant and it's not going to empower you. So you need to keep putting yourself out there and enhancing your experiences and basically like building out a portfolio of experiences to draw on. So like every time I put my art out there and maybe it's rejected or it gets negative feedback, I just think at least I put myself out there. At least I have something recent to draw on for memory, for experience, and I can carry it with me moving forward.
It helps you grow, you know, you don't want to find yourself in a stagnant situation, regardless if it's creatively, professionally, personally. You know, we constantly want to be growing and evolving and improving ourselves. And taking that step, putting your work out there, taking the risk, whether the feedback is negative or positive, you know, taking the outside influence out of it, you are still going to have an opinion of your work. You're still going to be able to reflect on that. And then as you change, you can see how your story changes and your work changes and your flow.
Yeah. And, usually your work will grow as you grow. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so one thing I did want to touch on is maybe some practical ways to help any viewers or listeners out there that are suffering from limiting beliefs and don't know any like action steps to take. Me, myself, I'm really big on mindset because I've struggled with limiting beliefs so much in my life and have really been hard on myself. So I have really studied the mind and studied what you need to do to get out of that paralyzed feeling that you have. So I know that identifying your beliefs, like identifying what is exactly holding me back. Usually for me, it stems for I'm not enough. That's pretty much a general concept, but there's so many others. But you know, you just identify them, you challenge them like, well, who says that I'm enough? Is it me that's saying that, or is someone else actually saying that? So challenging them and then flipping them like, you know what? Maybe I am enough. Maybe I can do this. And so I personally believe in affirmations. I think writing positive affirmations, I'm all about putting them down on a little sticky pad and putting them around the house.
Love that.
I love doing mirror work where you say positive affirmations to yourself in the mirror. YouTube, podcasts, like there are so many resources out there that will help you with affirmations, but I am big on affirmations. I swear it has changed my mindset so much.
You know, and that kind of inspires a thought for me, you know, creating something that is for you.
Yeah.
That you feel proud of.
Yeah.
I think builds that confidence and like kind of is in a way looking at yourself in a mirror. And if that is a positive affirmation coming back to you, even if it's a negative thought expressed, that helped you process that negativity in your life and turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
Or even be able to look back at where I was and where I am now. That's kind of like looking in a mirror in a way, and, you know, make that work for yourself. And if you're proud of what you created, other people will like it.
Exactly.
Someone out there will.
Exactly. And I feel like if you are proud of what you're created, you need to put it out there. It needs to be shown to the world.
Yeah. Even if it's small scale, you know, you don't have to.
Yeah. Even if it's just your mom or your brother, someone needs to hear it.
Yeah. Right. Start wherever you feel.
Right.
You know.
This reminds me, I'm not sure if you guys have read her work. Octavia Butler, the sci-fi author, she actually used affirmations, and she would write in her journal saying like, I'm a published sci-fi author.
Oh my goodness.
And
I love that.
Yeah, the journals are like in a museum somewhere now. Is like,
I've never heard of her, but now I really want to look into her.
Actually, she wrote a novel titled The Parable of the Sower, and it's one of those things that is kind of funny in retrospect because a lot of the dystopian stuff she described is real now.
Oh, right.
So she's a little bit of a future predictor.
Right. There's a lot of dystopian things that were talked about, decades ago that are real now. But we won't get it. That's for another episode.
Yeah. Focusing on the positive, I would say another piece of advice I have is to just let people read your work.
Yeah.
Because if you never let someone read your work, you're always going to have your shield up of, I've never let someone read your work. But as soon as you put that shield down of, oh, my friend reads my work, 2 of my friends read your work, it's going to get easier every single time, and you're going to become desensitized to the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just like, realize that it doesn't always have to be devastating. It's not as scary. We're just doing it, taking that extra step.
There's so many things in life that's so true. Like where it seems so scary, but then you just do it and you're like, oh, that's what I was afraid of this whole time. What was I thinking?
Yeah. I feel like just doing it is what really has helped me personally trust my creative process more.
Yeah.
Because you never know especially if it's something you've never done before, there's all of that fear and all of that anxiety of if I even can. I'm just finishing something does help the creative process.
It really does. You know what else helps is connecting with other creatives. Mm-hmm. That helps me so much. Yes, the collaboration. Even if you're not collaborating, just being around you guys, because you all are creatives, you all inspire me already. And it's just there's something just so sweet and beautiful about just the connection between creative people and just the inspiration you get, even just being around other creative people, like, oh, they're doing this, then I should put my work out there too, or I should try this, or you know what I mean?
That's what I'm really excited about this podcast, is that it's connecting you with other creatives, and it's putting a face to the words. It's putting a face to the emotions, to the poetry, to the art, and showing you that it's a real person. It's still through its screen, but this is just genuinely, organically who we are.
Push through those limiting beliefs, put yourself out there. Even if it's not good right now, I think what we did was good, but you can always make it better.
And I mean, it all comes down to are you proud of it? Do you feel good about it? And who cares if it's good otherwise, as long as you like it.
I had fun. I'm proud of our haikus.
I think they're a great time. I can't wait to create more poems with you guys.
Me either.
This is twice as many haikus as I wrote yesterday, so I'm on a roll.
Hey, let's go.
This is the first haiku I wrote probably since grade school.
Well, you did great.
Thank you.
Well, that was so much fun, and I really look forward to the future episodes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate all of our listeners and viewers, and we can't wait to keep collaborating.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us at the poetry table. Thank you so much to everyone who's been following along. If any artists out there have an interest in taking that next step with their work, please visit our website in the description below. This organization is really awesome and has your back, and we would love to teach you more.